Hi everyone, welcome to another video on the JayBee
Hey.
and Milly channel. Today, of course, we are joined by Sophie.
Hey.
And we are going to be discussing and kind of reviewing really everything that happened at Comic Con Scotland, which was at the Royal Highland Centre in Edinburgh. So I guess kind of first thoughts like on getting there and everything, and just, I don't know, how we felt on the build up to this Comic Con in general. Do you think there was like particularly like a lot of excitement around it? Do you think it was that it was just Neil Fanning, like in terms of advertising and everything? How did you both feel on the build up to the Comic Con?
Well, I'm going to compare it a lot to the one we did last year for Grey, which was the Telford takeover. Because going through that other video that we spoke about, that I was referring to the For the Love of Horror event quite a lot. So I guess it's only fair that I then update that comparison. So I think it's so weird with the Grey one. It felt like there was a lot of countdown to it. Like it was like I went through the month knowing it was 20 days away, 15 days away. And there was a countdown on social media for this one as well. But it's so weird. For this one, I just felt like it one day it was ages away, but you were excited for it. And the next day it was, oh wow, it's the end of this week. It was
Yeah.
still a lot of excitement, but it
I
definitely
know this
crept up
might
on
sound a
me.
bit silly, but do you think it's because it was at the start of the month? Like it was about the 6th or 7th, I think. And also we'd just gone on holiday before, so I agree it was kind of just like a suddenly there sort of thing.
Yeah, it could be. It could be because the last one, what Fiddle of Horror was the middle. Grey. Oh, see that the grey one, the grey photo doesn't have the dates on it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the date, but I assume that was towards the end of the month
I
as
think it was
well.
early December, maybe. I could be
3rd or
wrong.
4th of
Oh, yeah, because it
December.
couldn't be the end of
Mhm.
December, could it? Because then it'd be. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Interesting one. But that's like because I'll tell the audience. I did make a list based on last year's video, and Millie did have a good old laugh about it. It took us a few takes to get this started. I want to talk about the location, and what I mean by that is not, oh, this Scotland place. That was a good old laugh, wasn't it? It was kind of relation to us. So the Telford takeover that took us what, like 2, 3 hours to get to,
So
and that was right on Sophie's doorstep. This one was quite a long way away. So, Millie, as the head organizer, how did you find finding somewhere in Scotland to stay and just all the way around it? Like, what was your planning process like, and how easy was that?
I'd say it's pretty easy. Like for us, we're quite lucky. We live next to the motorway. You got on the motorway 3.5 hours later, you were there. In terms of finding places to stay, I think it was kind of the same as with any Comic Con. If you look at the nearest hotels, they're like 150, but again, it was quite an easy commute from one that was about £50. So
Yeah, and I think one thing with this is unless you live in Scotland, the chances are you're probably gonna have a hotel room either the night before or the night of, potentially, maybe even both. So with Wales Comic Con, it kind of didn't matter if Telford wasn't great. I don't know if it was great or not because it was so brief we didn't have time to check it out. But yeah, one thing I will say is Falkirk, where we stayed around. Like, I don't mean to offend anyone if they're from there, but
what? What are you about to
what a
say,
dreadful
JayBee?
place that was. Like, I was not expecting Scottish Blackpool, but Scottish Blackpool it was. There was a few decent places around, but if you are not from that area and you are booking to stay out somewhere, realistically, just make a trip to Edinburgh and have like a dinner there or something. Because I don't know who the Falkirk Council is, but they need fired seriously. Because what a dreadful place,
Oh, that's a bit
dreadful
rude.
place. What did you think of Falkirk?
I didn't see much of it.
You spent the night there.
Yeah, I was asleep.
Okay, I think that was quite diplomatic. But Sophie, what was your first impressions of Falkirk?
Um, well, initially for the con, I think the only thing I was apprehensive about was how far it was. It's like a 5.5 hour drive. Um, to be honest, the whole booking of the travel lodge was okay because you literally sent me all the details and we got like the same place, so I didn't have to do like any work there. I think yeah, like you said, it was quite funny. You felt like it was ages away, and then all of a sudden it was like the weekend of, and it kind of like just came upon you really quickly. Um, But overall, yeah, the drive wasn't that bad. So it was definitely like, yeah, I'm glad I did it.
I kind of want to throw in on this location point as well, like what we thought of the Royal Highland Centre, because I think I preferred the location of the last two conventions. Like, you know, where you went for the photos in this one, you kind of looked up at the ceiling and there was holes in the roof. It was a bit like a barn or something. It was a bit strange. I don't know if either of you two actually looked up at the
I've
ceiling.
never once looked up at a ceiling in any building I've been in,
Oh,
except for this.
yes.
Wait, you looked up at the ceiling? That sounds so weird, but I've never done that. It was a barn.
Yeah, like it was like a tin kind of barn style roof. Like the only reason I looked up is because some water dropped on me and it's because there was a hole in the roof.
See, I thought the place where the props were was a tent, and then that was just another
No,
area as
it was
well.
like a warehouse, a barn, and another warehouse, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
That actually sounds weird.
It was a bit strange.
Well, I think I will disagree with you then, because I think I liked it better than the For the Love of Horror event in terms of venue, because that was ropey toilet area, steps down, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
then just one grey room.
No, there's two rooms.
Was there?
Yeah, there was the one where the
Oh,
stalls were, and then the one where the
two
guests
grey
were.
rooms there. And for all it was functional, it wasn't very interesting. I got the impression that the event had almost gotten too big for the venue when we went there, especially with like the guests that they had. Whereas I think Wales was still the best looking area. I don't know. I just think they decked it out with a bit more stuff. Like I watched all of our vlogs from there, and there was stuff like signed Mario things about. There was that double decker bus, and they had props in this one, but you had to like go and look for them as opposed to first thing that happens when you get in there, you're amazed at everything that's going on. You just got in there, couple of Scotland Comic Con banners, but other than that, it was stalls, which is cool. But I think I was more wowed by the Wales turnout.
Okay. And I guess kind of on the point of schedule and the running of the thing, I know a lot of people's biggest complaints with Comic Cons is just you're queuing for ages. I think it's fair to say we were really lucky with this. Like, as soon as we arrived, Neil Fanning was pretty much empty. He had a couple of people in front of us. He always had somebody there, but it was never like a massive queue. And then the photo again, it was just so easy and manageable. Even in terms of scheduling, like it was raining a lot before we got there, and I feel like we got let in early. Like I feel like they were prepared enough to say 8:30 we'll open the doors because it's raining.
I mean, my shoes are notoriously slippery, so I don't know if this was everyone else's experience, but that walkway from the very front entrance to like the first room when it was just like toilets and stuff, that was like lethal. I was slipping so much because everyone was trailing water in because it was raining. And I just thought for a country in general that's notoriously rainy, I just would have thought that they would have put like a carpet down leading into a doorway or something that wasn't just a slip and slide there, because that was kind of scary. But other than that, I don't think there was any waiting time really. We waited a lot longer at Telford, and didn't we have like another different pass for Telford?
Yeah, Telford was kind of annoying with how much Gray's photo got rescheduled. I think she dealt with it well to not be annoyed by it, to be honest.
Well, even just in the venue, it took us a while despite having the faster one.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of waiting for the photo. Whereas when we didn't really wait for anything here. And then the one thing we did, it was that prop area, and we could just sit down and eat there. So it was a lot quicker. I think a lot better organized.
Yeah, but I think typically Monopoly events are although that being said, the Matthew Lillard one didn't work out perfectly. Sophie, what did you think in terms of like the running of the day, that sort of stuff?
Oh, well, going back to the venue, I think overall I probably enjoyed Telford more. But at the same time, I thought the Scotland one is kind of more grand and like a higher like place than Telford was, like with the props and what they had going on and the guests.
With the first one, well, not the first one, but the first one we ordered together, it was very much, we were all separate, right? It was like Stranger Things. We all started in separate locations and then joined up. Whereas this, in terms of scheduling, we were pretty much all just following you.
Me?
Yeah, you, right?
What did I do?
Like you were just, oh, I'll go here, I'll go there. Because there were so many points where even me or Sophie were like, "Oh, I want to like go sit down now. It's been a while," or something like that, and then you were just like, "Oh yeah, after this one, and then just
I'm not taking the blame for this.
trailed us around more things, and I was like, "Oh."
One thing I will say is trying to sit down at a Comic-Con is difficult.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like the type of person who doesn't like sitting on the floor, don't bother going to a Comic-Con.
Yeah, well, I compared it to something that I won't repeat on camera.
Yeah, that's a
but
good idea.
yeah, well, I can say it like nicely.
No.
It's like it
No.
was a fun version of crisis control. Like, imagine if an earthquake just hit your hometown, but it was fun. It's like that. There's a load of people in a warehouse. Some of them are crying and hyperventilating and sat on the floor, but it's fun.
Okay.
That's my best analogy. That's my analogy of the day. JB's analogy of the day.
Okay. What tips would you all give to somebody going next year?
Get a hotel in Edinburgh, and just drive to the venue. Or pre-book some of the stuff because I think it's just a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's always easier to pre-book autographs, photographs.
Especially if you're going for like a Smolder holder or a Vampire Diaries, like because they're gonna sell out really quickly.
I would recommend, I don't know why my voice keeps breaking. I would recommend getting the early bird tickets that we did where you get in at 9 instead of 11 because I like from 11 onwards it was so difficult to move around in there.
I like that.
What else?
I didn't think Falkirk was that bad to sleep there, like the Travel Lodge.
Yeah, the Travel Lodge
it's
was
a 20
fine.
minute journey to the Highland Centre, which that was okay. I mean, on the Friday before we did all the Edinburgh stuff, and then we came back to the Travel Lodge, and then it was like the Highland Centre for the whole day, so that was fine. Definitely the 9 o'clock tickets are worth it. We pretty much went around all the stores before the 11 o'clock rush came in, and we got to see everything quite well. I mean, if you had like the 11 o'clock rush with you, it was hard to see everything, but I think definitely we had like a good time to look at everything.
Yeah, I'd also say
definitely pre-book tickets.
Yeah, and also screenshot anything like the map, the photo times because internet was horrific.
Oh, also, so if you're not from Scotland, prepare to get the Scottish money given to you in change, even if you're giving over like GBP. Because I know no one else will probably be upset by that. But every time I was given like a 10 quid Scottish note, I was like, oh, I need to get rid of this. I have to spend this. Maybe that was like a marketing tactic that they do. Like, oh, these silly Englishmen will like they'll just throw this money back at us. But I fell for it. I couldn't handle having it. So yeah, I guess just prepare for that.
You're ridiculous. Anything else for like people going next year or like future Comic Cons for us or anything like that?
What for us?
Yeah, like just thoughts of advice for people going to a Comic Con.
I know it's quite
Well,
dramatic, but it's literally right next door to the airport if anyone's going to fly there instead.
That's
So that like a day trip sort of thing going on.
that's what we should have done, really. We could have gone from Blackpool to the centre, and that would have taken what, like 10 minutes. Oh, I thought of one.
I think Sophie did the right thing by taking a spare pair of shoes.
Oh.
But if you're doing cosplay stuff like that,
And a brolly. That was a good one.
okay, moving on to the
Make
next
sure
point.
you have like if it's raining because it's torrential rain, have waterproofs to cover and protect all your signed in paperwork, or else it will get ruined.
Yeah, no, that is very true. And I know I was mentioning cosplays. The next topic actually is cosplay. So, what did you all think of cosplays at the Comic Con? Because I could be wrong in saying this, but I think there was less than there was at Telford.
Oh yeah, Sophie's was great.
Oh, Sophie's was amazing.
But apart from Sophie's, I think this was the worst cosplay turnout we've had in a Comic Con. Because For the Love of Horror freaked me out.
Oh, that was
But there were
scary.
ghost faces, leather faces, saws.
The thing is you
Chucky,
imagine this stuff going on.
Pennywise.
It is terrifying. Like going to For the Love of Horror, especially because Matthew Lillard was there, and who was the other one from Scream that was there?
That Skeet Ulrich.
So like there was just ghost faces everywhere.
And it is scary. It's like the last scene
With
in Cabin in the
knives
Woods.
that looked like real blades, and it was just
But they
awful.
committed to the thing, didn't they? They were fully there, fully freaky. It wasn't my thing, but when you look to the left and there's a load of Walking Dead zombies, and you look to the right and there's 5 ghost faces doing the knife thing together, like, I didn't like it, but they still commit to the thing. There's so many cosplayers that stuck out to me from Wales, like even just little side things like what's the guy's name from Star Wars? The dustbin. No, not the dustbin. R2D2, there was C3PO, there was Cruella DeVille with her kids in like Dalmatian onesies.
Oh, the fairy godmother from Shrek.
Like
Yeah.
there was so many from Wales.
There was only a couple that we really pointed out here. Like you saw a really cute family that the baby was Gru, and then the parents were
Audrey
Starla and
too.
Gamora. The Audrey 2 was good. There was some Five Nights at Freddy's stuff you liked, but that was kind of it. There was a good Fred, and we saw a Shaggy and Scooby. We just needed a Velma.
Apparently there was a Daphne on the Sunday, so
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty poor turnout as far as cosplay goes.
I felt like it was more like fandom shirts. Like I felt like
yes.
in Telford you like cosplay or just casual wear, like nothing really to do with any fandom. But I felt like the turnout was more like fandom shirts more than just casual.
I think it's because it was clearly there was. I feel like it was almost put together as this is a Vampire Diaries showcasing some other people as well. Do you know what I mean? There was clear bias towards Paul Wesley and Ian Somerhalder, or however you pronounce his name. And so a lot of people were just wearing Vampire Diaries t-shirts because you can't exactly dress up as people from the Vampire Diaries, so the t-shirts were the closest thing you could get. And I think
a lot of Indiana Jones there.
There was a good Indiana Jones.
Yes, okay. They apart from Sophie, obviously, they may have been my standout of the day because it was literally the dad Indiana Jones, and that was actually really cute. That's sweet.
Oh no, the Inside Out group, that was a good group. That was quite ingenious.
There was an Inside Out group.
For them.
Yeah, like all 5 of them. It was quite clever.
Wait, like all the emotions.
Yeah.
That's cute. How did we not see this?
I thought I pointed it out to you. I've bumped into them quite a lot.
That was probably when I was looking at that Halloween Wonder, maybe. Like, I didn't see that Inside Out. That's mad.
It is. That would have been sweet to see. I can't believe we missed
Yeah,
that.
that's what an oversight on my part. That's crazy.
How did you all feel about the layout and like getting around things? Because I'm gonna say possibly this is one of the best layouts of the 3 Comic-Cons we've had. To have like a distinct place for photos, a clear path around the autographs, stalls all together, and then you could go up to see the props and stuff if you wanted to. To me, it was possibly the best format because I think
it was better for me and us because we only went to see one person again. But I think if we went to see multiple people, it could have been all about the place.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to see a lot, you had to kind of queue to get between rooms. So if you were trying to rush from a photograph to get an autograph to get back for the next photograph slot, it would possibly have been a bit more difficult. But I think for what we were doing, it was well done. I think if you look at Comic-Cons like For the Love of Horror, the autographs and photographs were in the same room as some of the stalls, and it was just a bit all together. And
also mad love to the Comic-Con for this was the first one we've been to that did this, but opposite of some of the guests there were the tables where you could put your stuff to dry. That was a godsend, especially with that huge like Daphne poster we took, because if that happened at For the Love of Horror or Wales, for there was a place next to like Grey, if it was Grey,
you'd been scared someone stood on it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as safe, or it wouldn't be as chill. So I really like that they did that. I don't know if it was because they had some guests not make it. Maybe they were still recovering from COVID. There may have been like guests there other years, but
guests that would only be there on a Sunday.
This year, I really like that.
No, I agree. That was really good. Okay, and next on JB's itinerary is meeting Neil Fanning.
Oh.
Anyone want to start?
Not me, that's for sure.
Not me, Sophie.
Incredible. He's just such a lovely guy. Like, I remember, because the first thing we did was try and find where he was, and he was kind of like they all went up like one side of the wall, and then it was like a right angle, and he was like the last person we came to. And so, and then he had like the Scooby head, like the prop from the movie, and then we kind of like lost it over that. And then when we went up to him, I mean, for me, we were still in the queue and he was signing somebody else's work, and he looked up and he saw me in my Daphne outfit, and he was like, "Oh, Daphne," and I like literally died inside. But he's such a lovely guy. He was so much fun to talk to.
Yeah, he was. And I think it's fair to say we've not seen a guest make the effort he did for a Comic-Con ever in terms of the amount of stuff he brought with him. He had multiple suitcases of Funko Pops, posters, the t-shirt that he was wearing, all this sort of stuff. I think it's fair to say we've never seen a guest do that. It's certainly not on that level.
Yeah, like if we went to him last and we had X amount of money left over, he'd almost brought along like a ad hoc Scooby store, because he had like those little Funko keychains, t-shirts, prints, rare and bespoke posters. Like he showed up.
Yeah, he did well.
It was just amazing.
And I think it was okay, so obviously like bragging here and everything, but I think part of what always makes the experience a little bit, and we got this with Gray, was like everything was booked under our not JayBee and Milly name. So the first time we saw him, it was kind of like just saw it off the piece of paper, and you know, we signed it. It was all really nice. And then the second time we went around, it was to personalize something. And as soon as he saw the words JayBee and Milly, it was like, oh my gosh, we spoke about Scooby. You could tell he just read the piece of paper, looked up, and was like, oh yeah. And the autographs we got after he noticed that were different to the ones that we got before. So I feel like we got rare autographs, because before it was kind of like his standard autograph. After he knew who we were, it had like a little kiss under it, and he introduced us to someone that he brought with him. I don't know if we were like meant to go into like personal details of that, but like it was just really sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome. We did it again though, because we didn't introduce ourselves as JayBee and Milly to Gray at first, and then we did later. And they're like, oh yeah, that's JYB. And again with this, like he was nice before, don't get me wrong, but it was like he went from nice person to
extremely nice person
to lad, you know what I mean, like a proper geezer after he knew about her. So if I don't know if we are doing Jennifer Hale, but if we do, I'm just gonna go up to her and go, like, because I've learned my lesson now. I'm wise.
No, it's really sweet because we've all got that like person that like I want to call it like an extra special autograph, because as soon as like he'd signed out, he was like, "Oh, are you with them?" And then like you got the one with like the X underneath it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing, and it's weird to compare it because we couldn't get the gauge on him, because we could have studied Gray like at hers, because we were waiting next to her for hours and hours and hours. So we were like, oh, look at her, she hasn't taken her heels off, and she's like not sat down, she's paid like special attention to everyone. Whereas we didn't really have that with him, but every time we went over there, like he never once looked bored or pissed off, which if I just got off the plane from Australia and I had to speak to a lot of people, I'd probably be a bit pissed off. So it was good that he was all friendly throughout. But yeah, it was amazing. It's the first time we've met someone that we've interviewed in person, no?
It is, yeah.
I mean, the same with Gray, but it was they were so accommodating to like let us film them. Like we filmed the whole thing. Like you filmed me and I filmed you guys, and like you can keep that memory then.
Yeah, it was crazy. The only thing is, I'm determined. I'm not gonna have time for until December. I don't think if we do that. I need to set myself a weight goal from when I know that there's one happening to now, because the amount of times that I was like, this would be perfect if I didn't feel like I had to crop myself out of this or crop my like pregnancy looking thing out of this. Like, so one thing for me personally, I'm gonna set myself a weight goal so that I can just have one photograph where I look absolutely penging. So that's my thing.
You're really silly. All the pictures have been really nice. And on the next topic, we are talking about the stalls, and I think they were better than we've perhaps ever seen. There was more Scooby stuff than normal.
Sorry. One thing, another tip, yeah. If it's raining, bring a hairbrush, because our hair is so frizzy for the like official photographs. I thought I'd better add that one in when you were talking about pictures.
Yeah, no, and also think about your pose, because my arm is just limp in the middle of it. It wasn't great. I wasn't prepared either. I was pulling a ridiculous face, so they had to give us 2 pictures. It wasn't great.
It happens too quick. You can't think about it, can you? You're just like, bye.
Because it's weird. Because just looking up at like the grey one, there's nothing about me that's limp on that photo. So I don't quite know what happened with the Neil Fanning one. I think because the thing is, right? You look at the Matthew Lillard one, and I will add these in. It was from a distance, right? So you got my little legs at the bottom. Grey is a bit zoomed in. I don't know what this was. This was like
It's a headshot.
Too zoomed in. Oh, that's the thing is, are we even there yet? Are we on to photo ops? Because I've got
Not
some
yet.
stuff to say about the photo
We're
ops.
now on to shops.
I'm
And
not
like I
really
said,
happy with
there's
them.
more Scooby stuff than ever before. A lot of it was like a really good price. Like the cushion we got was like £10, I think. Like, it was great.
Mm.
The stalls are all good.
The prices are really good. I thought it'd be like really expensive.
Yeah, I think like just like it was just so easy to get some stuff. Like there was the hairbrush that was only £6. There was the scrunchies that were 4. The artwork you got was brilliant. So the cushion was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
But yeah, there was just a lot that was like nice, manageable prices, which yeah.
Good. I do want to see, and it won't do because I'd imagine because we saw similar names from this one that we did in the others. I do want to start to see new stuff because you guys know me. I am a Funko addict. I love Funkos, but I think they do run a risk of it being Funko Shop number 1, Funko Shop number 2, and I think it got a bit like that, maybe at least just for me. But there were a lot of interesting shops there as well, which I liked.
That's good. And JayBee, for the next category on your itinerary, you're gonna have to elaborate because you just put Sophie.
Yeah, I was meant to delete that because for the first one, this is why I wrote it down. It was a topic because it's the first time we'd met someone that we'd spoken to on Zoom, IRL. But actually, I will say, I think it was interesting with this one because we'd been like all together in that one, but not really kind of like we were, but we kind of weren't because I think you get different in different settings, right? And it was like I was saying with that one, like I was self-conscious in the first one because, like I was saying, like I'm just ahead here, and I think maybe this is partly why Neil Fanning didn't instantly recognize me because I've obviously got the big shoulders on that. You can tell that I'm not a skinny bloke, but when you fully know the rest of me, I think the dynamic changes a bit. Whereas with this, it wasn't just that, but it was how can you handle something in a social situation where you feel relaxed? And we were literally in the hotel room, and I thought it was because we had to like we were filming videos, we were doing stuff like that, and I just thought it was good because you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there were any awkward moments.
No, like we were talking for about 4 hours.
Which just surprised me in a way because I'm usually an awkward person, but it was just, oh, we're here. Oh, and then we go back to hijinks and stuff.
I did prefer it this way where like we got to like watch Scooby together beforehand. Did the bit for the vlog where you saw the poster. Like that certainly was like a big improvement for this Comic-Con than the last.
If we ever do another hotel one, I want to do a full-blown slumber party, like Scooby pajamas,
Scooby snacks.
I was gonna say it was like a slumber party. Like we had like rooms next to each other.
Yeah,
and, like, we were running in and out of like furniture, like just like decking it out, like kids, and like got complete like party mode.
Yeah, it did seem like a slumber party, and as well because like your parent, because like all the rooms were together, like ours, your parents as well. It was kind of like the turning the movie down a little bit because it was like past bedtime sort of thing. Like it was so much like a slumber party. It was so fun. Okay, so JayBee, you are now at what is my voice doing? Photo ops.
So I thought photo ops were fine, but they were definitely better than great. But yeah, I felt like cattle in that one. Like there was a woman, Nye, and I don't want to. This isn't an accusation, right? But I want to say Nye manhandling you, right? Like, okay, straight in now, just go there. Okay, straight in, move that way, and it was like, woman, you are driving me nuts. Like, I know what to do. Just usher me in, but not okay. Now go there on the table, go there. It was, yeah,
it was a bit much. I think timing wise, it was done better than the grey one because, you know, they actually knew when they were doing his photo. But she was excessive. The poses were excessive. I don't get why the guest wasn't in the middle. That just made it awkward. Like, both times we've been before, the guest just stands in the middle. You smile. It's
Too
done.
zoomed in, and it was just.
Yeah, it was too zoomed in.
It was It was like they didn't even look at the photos. Just
No, because there was one where like I wasn't even looking, and we got given that photo, and we got a second one. They put ridiculous the frames that you could get. The pictures weren't very good that were in there, and there wasn't like a hook on the back of the frame to be able to hang it up anywhere. There wasn't a stand on the back. The photos weren't as, I'd say it was perhaps even the poorest of the ones we've been to.
Yeah.
Except for the fact you didn't have to find a photo collection point. It was literally just around the back of the photo booth.
And also they're theoretically free on the website, whereas for Wales you have to like pay for it, I think. Which is actually crazy because they're good, but they're not so much better than the standard Monopoly event one. There's like, oh yeah, here's the premium price. So
yeah,
I felt like overall, like Telford was a bit more cleaner and organised. However, I thought with Scotland being more compact, it was easier to get around and find your way more. And yeah, like the photo frames. Definitely. I mean, like we said before we started recording, Gray's picture was a lot bigger than I think you said for both Matthew Lillard and Neil Fanning. Also, the frame was on a grander scale and a bit more like higher quality than the Scotland one. I don't know about Matthew Lillard one, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the difficulty with the Matthew Lillard one as well is it was both pictures from Scream. But then the problem with the Daphne one was that they just used the same picture twice because they were being really lazy. So the frames have never been the best.
The thing is, there's better Neil Fanning photos that I don't know if he's still with this person, but who we were liaising with to set up the interview sent me like 8 photos, and they were all better than the ones that were used. I don't know if it's he can't use them anymore because they've changed agents or whatnot.
I changed my ones out anyway.
Yeah,
they're good. I almost wish that I could have customed it, and I would have wanted the interview thumbnail to be one of the photos. I think that would have been cool.
It would. We always say we're going to change the pictures and we never do. We always said we're going to change the Lillard ones to Shaggy, change out one of the Daphne ones so it wasn't the same picture twice, and we just never have done it.
Maybe, well, we're in pseudo retirement now, aren't we? So maybe when we go to full retirement, I will do it one day. But yeah, and we're in full retirement in what, like 6 months?
Something like that.
So yeah.
So now on to getting our picture signed. That was the cool bit because that's when he read the JayBee and Milly and was like, kind of thing. It was nice.
I feel like by then we bumped into him quite a lot, and like you kind of like got to know us a bit. Like we were like loitering around, kind of. And then it's like, oh, again, like, come on, like, let's find your posts and pictures. And then when you said who you were, and it was like another level altogether. So yeah.
It's bad for the ego. It really is.
I want to start getting like JayBee and Milly lanyards or something. I don't know what. Like, I just want to like literally for Jennifer Hale. If we do that one, I might just go up to her and say JayBee and Milly, and then just leave it like that. Like,
but we can all say it then because I actually interviewed her as well.
Yeah.
We just need
to me
Dan for that one as well. Yeah. So the whole core 4 can have a photo together. That's IRL at long last. That's what my dream is.
For me, nothing tops when Gray was like, oh, so this is how you spell JV, and like remembered. Because she didn't have it written down or anything. That was just
so awesome.
Cool. It was amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And I like that Neil Fanning is a proper lad. Like I don't know how much we can say, obviously, like with like when he did know it was us, but yeah, he did share some stuff with us, and it was a whole different dynamic when he knew who we were. And I just think that was absolutely amazing. I was tempted to buying more than I should with one of the posters, but it's just if I had like more money there, I think I would have got one of every poster, all of the items, and I cannot tell you how much money I'd be willing to pay him per hour to just come into this room and sign stuff. I guess that's one thing that is a bit of a downside because for all we didn't get a look at it, I did see one of the certificates. And again, the authentication service, I don't think we were ever offered one, but I think Sophie was. But again, it was the Monopoly event sticker, which is fine, it's valid. But when you think about when you send something off to GalaxyCon, you can get it all done by JSA and signed off. I think there's something, I guess it's from the UK, maybe we don't have JSA here, but there does need to be an official authentication process available in the UK that can go out to conventions and stuff because either you've got to have it not authenticated, which is fine if you're not a reseller, but I think it's nice to have it done with certain things anyway. So you either need to have it not authenticated or you need to have a massive event purpose sticker on your stuff. And I don't think that's particularly good. And I'm probably complaining about something that's been an issue for the last 10 years, for the last 20 years of conventions in the UK. But yeah, I just think that someone needs to open up an official authentication service that just goes out to these things.
Okay, well, before we get to your improvements of the day, your next category is top 3 moments of the day.
Oh.
So I guess for me, it has to be that everything post JayBee and Milly introduction, that was obviously where it got amazing. I guess that, like, getting the big poster signed, that was so cool because that was like a big part of the journey.
That was mad. We nearly didn't do that though.
Yeah. And I guess like third moment.
Oh, can we talk about God?
No.
Well, I'll talk about God when mine
Okay.
happens.
And I guess my third moment would probably be not actually the day of the con, but the night before, just all watching Scooby-Doo together. That was really fun. JayBee, your top 3.
Same.
Okay, so I want to talk about God for a second. So people that know me, or even people that follow the channel, know that I don't dislike God, but I've never had any reason to fully rely on him or her or they or the entity, the deity that is supposedly our great creator. But I swear there is some stuff that the world nudges you into. So I was like, I'm not gonna get the poster done. I'm scared about it getting ruined, or maybe I will because I think I'll regret it if I came back and it wasn't done right. And one of those pegs that have been secure since the day we moved in, right? It didn't even have
18 months.
an inkling of moving or shifting or anything, fully secure. The day before I was going to decide, the one on the left hand side fully fell off. So the poster was literally jumping out to say, "Bring me with you, bring me with you." So I don't know if it was God or if it was Scoobyverse or something, but the world wanted us to get that sign.
Neil Fanning's going to turn you religious because there's this poster thing.
Oh
but didn't
God,
you
yeah.
also pray for the interview that we ended up getting?
Yeah, it was the first time we like properly and I was just like got down on my knees and I was like, "Come on, this would be really cool. Like, please, like." Anyone out there, can you bless us with this one? So yeah, you're right, actually. I didn't connect that.
It's gonna turn you religious.
Oh gosh. How about that then? How about that?
Top 3 moments, JayBee.
So there was the God moment, which was the first one. I don't know if we can we double up?
Yeah.
Because the second one has to be when we were at the hotel motel holiday inn, because that was just so much fun. I will say though, actually, because this one may go out either just before or after, but that whole reaction video, something happened with it and it went wrong on my end. So it's like an 8-minute video. So 1 hour, 20 minutes of recording is now an 8-minute video, and one of it is like a sneak peek about the vlog. So 7 minutes of that footage was used. But I don't think that was the point, right? I think it was just such a nice time to watch it all together. And actually, it probably was the point, to be honest. But I had a good time watching it with everyone. So that was one of my moments.
And your third?
Oh, my third moment. Oh, see, this is so bad because I think we had different ones for the grey one, but it has to be everything after Neil Fanning knowing that it was JayBee and Milly, because it's just the dynamic changed. I felt a lot more comfortable, and he's just a lad. They do say that Australians and UKians have the most in common out of anyone else in the world, like of 2 other nations, and I can see it, right? Like I was this close to going like, if you're free after, do you want to go out for a few jars, like down spoons or something, like, like that's holiday Neil Fanning. So yeah, that's me. That's me.
Okay, and Sophie, your top three, if you can narrow it down to a top three.
I mean, like we all said the night before, like that was so much fun. Yeah, it was just so much fun. I mean, we were like little kids, like running around the bedroom, just like chatting away and stuff like that. It was so funny. And then obviously when we met Neil, not only that, I was in queue and he said like, "Oh, hello, Daphne." And then when I was going in for my photo op, he was like, "Oh, come on in," and like it was like Daphne and all that, and he was like so excited to like pose with me, and it was like, and then another thing was he was really cool about he wanted us to do like a scared face. And I thought, I can't even smile properly, so forget about the scared face sort of thing. I was like, oh no, just a normal one. I was like, okay, great. And then he was just like so cool about it.
I like that. That actually sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Oh God. I mean, I think there's a certain security in a cosplayer, right? Because if you don't recognize someone like as a person signing stuff, you could just be dealing with some like scalper, right? Or like someone just looking to resell stuff. But I think when you're with a cosplayer, you know that they're passionate about the thing. So I do want to do cosplay at some point. I made myself a promise in the Wales video that I was gonna be Morticia, no, not Morticia.
Gomez.
Gomez Adams, and yeah. We'll leave that. But yeah, Gomez in the next one, and I wasn't obviously, but it will happen eventually. But I do like that. I love that. I think we've had some good moments.
Okay, and I think at that we are on to your last category of top 3 improvements.
Give that woman that was working at the photo op
It's
the
not
sack,
just
like...
the one working at the photo op though, like the person that was like crossing stuff off for Neil Fanning doing his autographs,
What?
He was incompetent too.
I didn't want to say
Like-
anything because I didn't know if it was someone I'd spoken to or a representative, but yeah. I think maybe he was tired, which yeah, you would be if it was early, but
Monopoly events supply a person, like it's not like this person's flown in with Neil Fanning.
he was very slow.
He trying to get him to understand even what my name was difficult. And then
It was like Faulty Towers.
the person that was trying to get you moved around for the photograph was difficult.
Was a drill sergeant.
The people outside at the gates were great, but other than that, the event staff were kind of a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
That's one improvement. The second one is just slow down with the photographs, like the posing, the pushing you in, pushing you out, how quickly they're taken, stuff like that. That was just far too rushed.
I felt like I was getting deported, to be quite honest with you. Like,
One thing about the photos, I think it must have been like for all the booths, they had the printers right behind the booths and you could just pick your photos up straight away. Whereas like in Telford, we had to go to a different room to then collect and try and find the photos, which were just like placed on a table. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, that was better. And then what would my third improvement be? Because that's 2. Maybe just more variety of stalls, because there was lots of Funko ones, there was lots of artwork ones, just something a bit different maybe, or more of stuff that's different. Yeah, that's my 3. JayBee.
I love that. So yeah, I guess third one, event stuff. Like obviously, I joke, I kid, like it's all satire. Like I don't mean genuinely have this woman and put her out of a job, but I think there just needs to be some type
Just
of
not
briefing.
something that's like customer
This
facing.
is meant to be an experience. Yes, we want to keep the schedule, and I do know that is important because it's like dominoes. If one person's late, then everyone's schedule gets changed, and I do understand that, and I definitely didn't envy them having to be a part of organizing that and making sure that was all running smoothly. But it is an experience to meet a person and to interact with them at the end of the day. And so I think the last thing you should be doing is overtly grabbing people like they're about to get detained or like they're being deported or like something like that. I think that was a bit too much. But If they just make sure that the staff are less rough around the edges, I think it's a making for a good time. Again, maybe we just got unlucky because it was the first day out of the two. It was early-ish. Yeah. So, I understand that. But that's something as well. Maybe just some service with a smile briefing and probably go quite far. Second one is I think there is somewhat of an issue with the promotion after the fact. Because I know with Wales, maybe it was less busy, but I feel like the websites and the pages made a conscious effort to interact with people after the fact, like really glad you had a good time and sharing stuff. And with this, it was a bit like unless you went to see that Ian Smolderholder or Paul Wesley, I don't think the Instagram pages or the Facebook pages are really interested in interacting with you. And it's like at this point, I think you were right in saying it is pretty much meet the Vampire Diaries cast. It's like a boxing event, a traditional boxing event. There's one massive like main event that they're marketing, and then there's like a teeny tiny undercard that they're like, oh yeah, and these are the prelims, they're kind of happening. Like enjoy them if you want, or don't, because look, we've got Anthony Joshua, we've got Tyson Fury. Oh yeah, there's these people as well. So yeah, and I think that's more for them than an improvement for me, really, because it's like I feel like the Vampire Diaries cast could go to them next year and say, right, we'll come back, but we want 75% of the money that the con makes. And they're probably well within their right to do that because they made money. Without them, if they didn't come back for a Comic Con, I think that event is kind of struggling.
But I kind of don't see why the mass appeal was with them. Not that they're not great, they are. But
I mean, they're very handsome
they've
lads.
been over for a Comic-Con in the last few months already. It's common that they do this. Like, I'm gonna say I've seen them maybe advertised 3 times this year as both coming to the UK.
Yes.
Neil Fanning, first UK Comic-Con, and no big thing was made of it.
Well, that's the thing I want with Neil Fanning, and I was almost tempted to say something, but I don't want to sound arrogant or anything. But the thing is with Neil Fanning, maybe we've not been in the community for a while, but I get the impression that outside of Australia, ever since Monsters Unleashed came out, the man's more or less disappeared off the face of the earth. And it's only the last week or so where it's a new Instagram account, new Facebook account, doing conventions outside of Australia, doing YouTube interviews. Like it's like the man disappeared after Monsters Unleashed purposefully. Obviously, I'm not saying like anything like that, but now he's kind of on a thing where he wants to come back and he wants to be in the public eye, which is amazing. But I just think that the right marketing team behind that, I think he could have an audience in a Comic Con the level of Linda Cardellini. I don't think it would be difficult to do anywhere near Geller because obviously there's Buffy fans, there's Scooby fans, there's Cruel Intentions fans. I mean, he could rival Prince as well. And with Matthew Lillard, there's Scream, Scooby, there's going to be Five Nights at Freddy's. But like, Neil Fanning could be well within that group of the cast. I just think there's just a little bit of tweaking that needs to happen behind the scenes. But yeah, I agree. Like and that Comic Con did miss a trick not marketing that more. Because I know people that don't give a monkeys about Scooby, but they will get stoned and watch the 2 live action movies as an annual event who would just do that for the experience. Like there is a big audience for the live actions. I think especially here in the UK, it's just marketing. But was that true though, Sophie? Like was Neil Fanning pretty much gone until the last year or so?
Yeah, like I mean, I didn't really start getting into social media until like 2020, but yeah, I hadn't heard anything from him since until like recently. I mean, that is one of the reasons why I wanted to go. It's like his first UK like international con. Whether or not he's going to come back or not, I thought, well, if he doesn't, this is definitely a missed opportunity. So that's why that was like the final deciding factor.
Yeah, you also want to support this stuff, so it kind of gives him a reason to come back.
I'd love for him to come back.
What about you? Do you have a top 3 things they could improve?
Overall, I thought it was quite a positive like con. I think when you said about the stores, I got a lot more variety and more going on in Telford than I did here. However, for us, there was more Scooby stuff at Scotland than there was at Telford. I know Gray, you know, does other things other than Daphne, but like obviously Neil's just Scooby, and I don't know if they were trying to target that audience. A big thing for me was the food. They had like when we went in at 9 o'clock, and because it wasn't like lunchtime yet, all the cafes were closed, and I didn't even see them walking in. And obviously later on, the food trucks outside came out, but we were on the other side of like the warehouse going into the other buildings as well. And also, I mean, we didn't really see people with food until like we were going out. And also it was torrential rain, so people were having to like queue outside in the rain for it. I thought there's a lot more going on at Telford than there was at Scotland. Me loving food. I'm like Shaggy and Scooby at this point.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know. I think that's it. I tell you what, I did think the woman doing the photo frames was working her butt off. Like she seemed to be the only one like doing all the photo frames.
And
she was
she's
like
the
dot trying to
yeah.
get it all done. So yeah.
And she was the nicest Monopoly Events employee that we spoke to. Like she was like so positive considering how run off her feet she was.
I thought
She's
the
like,
third one.
just wait there for 1 minute, darling. Like I'll be back with you in a second, sweet. Like she was making a point of being as nice as possible to everybody. So
okay, I've got a third one as well.
okay, what's your third one?
So I think the Comic-Con really is Saturday part 1, Sunday part 2. I understand that, but we've only ever done one day. A part of me kind of feels like the scheduling of the Q&A panels should go to viewer vote or something or other, because
Or be published
we
as soon as the tickets gone
because
sale.
we found out so late that Neil Fanning's Q&A was going to be on Sunday. And again, because of how schedules work out, I doubt that would have changed too much. Like, I don't think we would have gone, oh, let's do Sunday instead. Maybe we would have been tempted to scramble some stuff together to do Sunday as well. But again, maybe not. But yeah, the schedule, they post that way too late.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
So that kind of is the end of JB's topics for the day. Other than, would we say smash or pass for this Comic-Con? And I'd say there's certainly points for improvement, but overall it's got to be a smash.
I think it's a smash. I think it's my favorite one, yeah, because of the guests, the fact that we spoke to them beforehand, the stuff that we got, like the poster. It's a shame though, because I think when I look at it side by side, if everything went smoothly with Telford, I think that maybe would have made for an overall better experience. But because everything did go right for Scotland, it was better in my mind and more iconic because of the guests and like the circumstance of the hotel and stuff. So yeah, it definitely is my favorite one so far. So it's a big smash, big smash.
Sophie?
I want to do it again.
Definitely a smash. It was so much fun. Also, like being in Scotland, I think for you guys, it's kind of like a holiday, like a getaway for like the night. That kind of added to the whole experience. And overall, I think the con was really good.
What about you? Did you smash?
Yeah.
I like that. So I think it's safe to say we don't know if we're doing Jennifer Hale.
We are.
But we'll come back to that. I do want to fine tune a few things
Well, we're going
to do with content and stuff. So yeah, maybe that'll happen, maybe it won't happen. I don't think we've decided.
We have.
But yeah, I would definitely be open for that. And yeah, I think it's just gonna be amazing. So Sophie, where can people find you on the World Wide Web?
You can find me on Instagram at Scooby-Doo for life.
And you can find me on Instagram at JayBee for life. No, you can't actually. But you can find me in the description down below along with Milly. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. This has been another part of our Comic-Con coverage. As of this being posted, there's maybe only a highlight reel left to go out, so we will see how that goes. But until the next time, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.